Hi folks, this is Andrew Briggs from internetmarketingtooltips.com with another tooltip for you. Today I would like to look at a security plugin for your WordPress websites. It's really important that you think about security on your WordPress websites, and the plugin that I've got here today does an excellent job. And what I'll do is I'll take you through the whole process of installing it and setting it up, and then we'll touch on a few of the features of the plugin. So let's get started. First of all, we'll head over to plugins and we'll add a new one. The plugin is called WordFence, so if you do a search for WordFence and just hit your search plugins, it should be the top one that appears, so we'll just crack on and install that. It should only take a few seconds, and we'll also activate the plugin. Once activated, you'll see that the plugin now pops up a new menu item in WordPress. We'll just end the tour here, and the first thing that you get presented with is the option to start a WordFence scan. Now, what I usually do is just hit the start WordFence scan. This will take a few minutes, so what I'll do is I'll pause the video and we'll come back once the results are in. Okay, so that didn't actually take that long. Pops up saying scan complete, and down here at the bottom it would tell you whether you had any security issues or not. This is a test site that I use for testing plugins. There's not much on the site, so thankfully we don't have any security issues at the moment. Once you've done your initial scan, there are a number of options that I'll come back to and look at, but the most important one for you for setting the plugin up are the options. Now, because you've installed it, it comes up with a license key for you. You don't need to worry about that. The other options here, you've got basic options to set up or enable firewall, login security, live traffic view, and also automatic scans. In here, what you would do is you would just add your email address, a suitable one for you. So, for instance, bob@gmail.com. Security level. Now, you have options here to set different levels of security, but what we do later on down this page is to choose a few options, and this will then pop up as custom settings. So don't worry about setting this one up. Also, how does WordFence get IP addresses? Again, I just leave this as default. However, if you were using Cloudflare, for instance, you would want to maybe choose this option, but I just stick to the default settings. What I like about the plugin is that you can customize it and set up your own security settings. So if we just run through these, the alerts just allows you to be told via that email address that you set up earlier or further up the page when certain of these actions take place. So if WordFence finds critical problems or warnings, you'll get an email. I have also set up a couple of extra ones just so that I know what's happening on the site. It's not unusual for people to set up bots on the internet to troll WordPress websites and try and log in as an admin user. If they can do that, they can then access your dashboard, they can change things on your site, they can also hack in and potentially either ruin your site or put malicious software on the site so that they can maybe do some spamming or whatever. So it's important to know who's trying to access your site and when they're trying to access it. So WordFence allows you to be alerted when these things happen. One of the options that I choose is alerting me if someone's locked out from login. Again, this is where somebody's trying to log in as an admin or something like that, and they've been locked out because they've obviously not got a right password. If that happens, it's good to see that this is happening, and WordFence can then allow you to actually start to block IP addresses and such like. So it allows you to build up a picture of who's trying to access your site and where they're trying to access it from. And this is just a useful feature to allow you to be alerted when that happens, because it can just happen anytime. You can also set up alerting when someone's accessing as an administrator. On my sites, I am the only administrator, so if somebody else is accessing my sites at that level, then potentially I have a problem. So it shouldn't happen, but I'll just check that. We also have live traffic view. Live traffic view just allows you to see what's going on. It shows you details about logins and IP addresses, etc., which we'll come back to. Scans to include options. Here we've got scan the core files of WordPress. You can also scan theme files and plugin files. I don't tend to switch theme or plugin files on just because sometimes WordFence can throw up a sort of false positive. WordFence can also scan for signatures of known malicious files, which is also a good one to check, or just leave the defaults really, to be honest. You can have a look down to see what other options there are, but it's advisable just to leave these all on as default. And I don't tend to check this one because scanning files outside your WordPress installation, I really just want to know if there's a problem with my WordPress site, so I just leave that unchecked. Firewall rules. You can immediately block fake Google crawlers. Makes sense to check that and just leave it checked. And I tend to just leave the rest of the options as defaults. Login security options. You can enforce strong passwords. You just stick with the recommended options. Lockout after how many login failures. Now 20 is pretty high for me because I'm the only admin user. I should be the only person logging into my sites. Okay, I might get it wrong a couple of times, so I tend to reduce that rate way down to maybe 5. So if I fail to log in after the 5th time, there's something wrong, because I should really remember my password, my username and password. But if you've got a bot trying to log into your website, then after 5 attempts of failing, it then gets locked out. Locking out after how many forgot password attempts, again, I just cut that back down to 5. Count failures over what time period. If these 5 failures are within 5 minutes, then it gets locked out. If these 5 are spread out over maybe 2 hours, then obviously the person can keep trying to log in over 2 hours, but that doesn't make sense for somebody trying to maybe log in and hack your site. So 5 minutes is a good time. And again, amount of time a user's locked out. Well, this time, instead of 5 minutes, I tend to bump that up to about an hour, because again, I should be able to log in properly to my own website. Nobody else should be logging in. So if they do get locked out, they're locked out for a whole hour. It doesn't make sense to immediately lock out invalid usernames, especially since I could put a typo in, so I'll just leave that unchecked. Don't let WordPress reveal valid users in login errors. That's always good to check or leave as default. And also, if you're preventing users registering admin username, leave that checked, because again, that makes sense not to allow them to register as admin. Nearly finished. At the bottom, here's a few other options that you want to check and see whether you think they're appropriate for your website. Hiding WordPress version. I used to have a different plugin that I used to hide the WordPress version, but WordFence now incorporates that, so I just use WordFence to do this. It's a good idea to do because, say there's a security vulnerability in a particular version of WordPress, hackers may know which versions they can hack, and if your WordPress websites and pages show the version of WordPress, then they can identify it just through searching pages and such like, and they can hack in. But if you're not showing what version you're on, then it just makes it that little bit harder for them to identify which version you're using and if they can actually hack it. So always leave that checked. Couple other things that are set up, scanning comments for malware and phishing URLs, it's always good to leave that checked. And checking password strength on profile updates, etc. All good options and always worth just leaving them checked as default. Down here you can enable debugging mode if you need it. If you want to just deactivate WordFence for a particular reason and then you want to reactivate it, then obviously you don't want to delete the tables. You just leave this unchecked. Now you can also click on these options just to make sure that everything's going to be working okay for WordFence. So why don't we just give that a check? Both tests have passed, as you can see, so that's good news. Click to view your system's configuration. And we'll just also test the WordPress memory available. And there you go, congratulations, your web host allows you to use at least 80 meg of memory for each PHP process. It's worth checking these things down at the bottom. But ultimately there's a lot of defaults set, and there you go, just as I mentioned earlier, because we've checked a few things down the bottom, it's now recognised that we've now got custom settings, and that's fine. So you just hit save settings. You'll see from other options under WordFence you've got scan schedule, which is only available if you upgrade. However, WordFence does actually do some automatic scanning anyway. You can block IPs. You can also block countries if you've upgraded. And you can also do some advanced blocking, but these are options really for advanced users. The thing that you can look at is live traffic. This should give you an idea of who's accessing your site, and from this you can block the IP, you can block the network. It's pretty useful just if you start to see patterns or people accessing from places that you don't even recognise or you're a bit concerned about. You can just block them and they won't get back into your website. So I just thought I would introduce WordFence to you. It's something I've got on my websites, and you'd be surprised at how many people are trying to access your site as an admin user. So I hope you found this useful. I use this on all my websites. It's a pretty useful security plugin for WordPress. Okay, cheers for now.